Honestly, you can't say anything these days, can you, without being taken off the air? Second time lucky, hopefully. If at first you don't succeed, come back 15 minutes later, I believe is the proverb. I'm Ross Brierley. This is In the Know. Take 2. You missed a cracking intro. It was such a good intro, honestly. I had jokes about wind, with a slight insinuation that it depends what Keels has had for dinner. The Henry VIII, thank you, Keels. 5 runners, that's one less than his wives. What else did we have? John Bond fans, yeah. We were talking about that. Paul Kealy still in the studio.
Yeah, I can't believe we're back on air. Interrupted my study up for the 6:20 at Newcastle. I thought I might get that in.
Unbelievable
Anna
stuff.
Emirati, if you must know.
Hopefully, yes. But to be fair, I mean, we're joking about the old weather. That might be the only racing we get to watch tomorrow.
Absolutely be, couldn't it? Yeah.
Okay, let's rattle through what we said at the start. John Bond, every time I see him, I love him. Let's hope he wins again.
Yeah, he's really a good watch, isn't he? He's just a winner, isn't he? I don't think he's an absolute superstar, but you can't knock his effort. And he's the best around in Britain, at least at the moment, at 2 mile.
And speaking of which, you were telling me you've got a... I like it when people get a new favourite horse.
I've got a new favourite horse. I backed him today. He didn't win. I don't think he's ever going to make me any money because he's a complete lunatic. But I love watching Jupiter the Geek. Go and watch it. Go and rewatch that. And if anybody ever tells you that horses don't enjoy themselves when it comes to jumping or don't like it, just look at him. Right? He can't get to the next fence quick enough. His head's up in the air. He's tugging away at the jockey. And I just like to imagine he has little squeals of delight every time he takes off because he jumps beautifully as well. It's fantastic horse. I love watching him.
I think it's fair to say they might not try 3 miles next time.
They might not. Well, you can get beat that far though.
No, fair. Hello, Tom Segal. What have you been up to for the last 17 minutes?
Be twiddling my thumbs, Ross, but I hate to tell you, but your Henry VIII joke has fallen flat because there's another non-runner in there. Rubo's come out in the last 10 seconds, so we're down to 4.
Oh, no.
And it was a very, very good intro as well.
They're dropping like wives, aren't they? Anyway, like I said, let's assume that it all goes ahead tomorrow because I don't want to waste any time on Keels' Swedish weather app or whatever it is. So, assuming it all does go ahead, what are you most looking forward to?
Well, the graded races at Sandown. I mean, I still think the Henry VIII whatever it is a really good race. I like the 2 Irish horses against Lotus Sue and John Bond. I mean, it's interesting, isn't it? Last season's Novices have come up against, the sort of old established chasers in a couple of races in Ireland recently, and they've absolutely battered them. Factor File and Spillans Tower dominated the Durkin, and Founder 50 and Solness, who runs tomorrow, won the 4 Trio against the reigning champion Chase. So, are the last season's Novices really good? I think John Bond's he's up against different horses, isn't he, with a different sort of form line. So he might not get his own way.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, including one of our not going to say favourite horses, but Master Chewy. I liked him last year. You liked him as well, didn't you?
Yeah, I liked him. Yeah, he's just a short runner, isn't he? I think he's a very good horse. But if there were chases over 1 mile and 6, he'd be very, very good. Yeah. But I just don't think he stays particularly well.
Okay, fair enough. David Stevens. It's full of games, isn't it? This racing preview log. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. Simon messaged to say that's the best we've ever sounded. That first attempt at it, I thought it was a little bit harsh, but been a good day for the Coral Racing Club up at Sedgefield. Christian Williams take a bow. He got Cave Article to win over 3¼ miles up there. Could be a Scottish national horse in a couple of years' time if Christian is anything to form. We won't say too much about Cast No Shadow that followed at Newcastle in a race won by our old favourite Mont de Measure, of course. But let's hope that it all goes ahead as planned tomorrow. Big weekend for us last weekend. Big day tomorrow for our Pipped at the Post offer. This is where we will pay you as a winner if your horse finishes second, beaten by a neck or a less. That's on all the ITV races that we're going to be looking at tonight, up to a tenner. So let's hope for an afternoon of tight finishes.
Okay, lovely stuff. Thank you, David. Have we got anything else up your sleeve for tomorrow's racing? Do we have or is it not worth doing given the potential forecast?
No, of course we have. We've got a John Bond special, given going to be mixed views on the panel. I'm sure John Bond to win that Tingle Creek by over 2 lengths is a 2-to-1 shot from 13 to 8. So that's the exception to the pipped at the post type finish that we want to see in the rest of the races.
Okay, lovely stuff. And Keels is requesting a bold jumping, go off like a lunatic, not get home money back special, potentially for his favourite horses. But anyway, get involved on the chat. Plenty of you have. Some of you saying there's no sound, which would be funny if there's literally no way of me testing whether you're winding me up or not. So let's hope you are. But anyway, are we gonna throw an ad in here, or are we just cracking on? Oh, lovely stuff. Let's see if the ad plays with sound as well. It's all going so smoothly. Lovely stuff. Right, let's have a look at Saturday's racing then at Sandown and Aintree. And we might throw in some Navan thoughts, or even Wolverhampton, or maybe, I don't know, hunting it on Sunday. Who knows what will happen? But we're going to start off at Sandown for the 1:15 with the Pertemps qualifier here. West of the Bridge 4-1, Dubrovnik Harry 9-2, Henri the Second is 9-2 as well. Super Survivor 7-1, Operation Manor 7-1, Party Business 17-2, Up for Parole 11s, Ike Sport at 14-1. And again, the fun and games of seeing who wants to win this qualifier and who wants to sneak into the frame for Cheltenham in the spring, albeit soft ground round Sandown. This is one of those qualifiers actually where I think everyone goes hell for leather and tries to get their head in front. But it hasn't been a bad angle to back some older horses in this over the years. And West of the Bridge is certainly experienced animal indeed for the Skeletons. Is 4-1. But we've got some another good angle, of course, with Montmoral, for example, at Cheltenham this year, was Chasers dropping back over Hurdle. Super Survivor, who was a good stay-in chaser, is having another crack over the smaller obstacles, and plenty of others to like as well, Keels. But 3 miles with 50-mile-an-hour winds in bad ground at Sandown.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely. Yeah, of course it is. Yeah, it's going to be a massive test. I'm going to say that I was going to go for West to the Bridge.
Yep.
But looking back at his form, I'm not 100% convinced that he stays 3 mile. He has one win over 3 1/4 to his name, but in a 3-runner race in which his only serious market rival pulled up. So I just have a little bit of a concern about him at that trip. So I went for one who's not proven at the trip, but I think will stay all day, and that's Henri the Second. He won the Winter Novices Hurdle here 2 years ago. Staying on really strongly. He had one go at fences last year in the Grade 2 Novice Chase, jumped terribly, finished last. Came out and he was staying on 4th last time out, back over hurdles. It just looked like it was way too slow for him now. He's a half brother to Enrillo, who had the Bet365 Gold Cup taken off him a few years ago, and he's by Sadler Maker, whose horses generally tend to revel in the mud. Bristol de Mai, Fontaine Collonges that bolted up at Haydock the other day. So I think there's an awful lot in his favour. He's on a mark of 125. I mean, Paul Nicholls was running him in graded races over hurdles and fences. Got to be better than that. I hope he's better than that anyway. But I think going up in trip is going to suit him down to the ground. And Operation Manor won the race last year. He was my other one against the field. Obviously, he hasn't run for ages, but he's got loads of form in bad ground. He just got the better of Hititi this race last year, but they were almost all together going to the last, and the front two pulled about 6 lengths clear. He's just a little bit higher in the weights. He's still got Cameron Isles on him, claiming 7. So I think he'll run well, but I think Henri the Second is going to be his day to finish first.
All right, Henri the Second is a 9-2 shot then. Solid one here, Tom, for me was Dubrovnik Harry, Sandown horse, bad ground. Yard are going quite well as well, but if there is a solid one in a race of this nature, of course.
Yeah, I didn't fancy anything. I thought you could take on absolutely everything in the race. West of the Bridge just through age. Dubrovnik Harry hasn't had a run. He's a bit of a, he's short enough for a horse that doesn't win very often. Henri the Second, I just don't know if the form's, he's still beaten quite a long way. I get Hills' point entirely. I was going to tip Henri the Second, but then I just sort of wondered if he was still there. I don't know. Super Survivor, he's got a chance, hasn't he? But in the end, when I'm going through a race like this and I can't find one, I always sort of flip it on its head and look at a big price one at the top of the weights. And I think Authorised Art might run well for Gary Moore. This is the easiest race he's running for probably his life. You know, he's second in a Galway Plate. He was fourth in a Kerry National. He's stone lower than he was there. He's got Freddie Mitchell claiming 5. The question is, will he get home over 3 miles in the mud? He might do. And I'm a Gary Moore groupie around Sandown. He's just a class horse, that. And he hasn't changed. You know, he's moved to Gary Moore from Willie Mullins, but he's kept the same owner. So they obviously still think there's something there. And I thought at 25 to 1 or 33 to 1 or whatever he was, he might just run well. I mean, Gary Moore had 2 top weights win at Newbury last week in Le Patron and Hermino. And, they were big prices because everyone thought they were sort of handicapped out of it. I'm not convinced. I think he might run well.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Segal. Okay. The 115 at Sandown, David?
Yeah, Authorised Art has been very well backed. Now we know why. He's down to 14 to 1. But on Henri the 8th day, I'm with Henri the 2nd too. I don't know, Kills, if Paul says anything in the paper to him about what sort of... He was off for a year, wasn't he? But they're obviously persisting with him. I thought he ran okay.
Yeah, I think he injured himself at Sandown when he jumped so badly. The plan was to go back over fences with him. So the fact that they're sticking to hurdles, I think they just found out he wanted 3 mile.
But again, Montmoral last year had a similar, didn't necessarily take the fences, dropped back to hurdles and won the final here. It's a lot of horses do, he'll make a future chaser, but they don't all take to
No, of course they don't. No, of course they don't. So, he's still... I think he's still got enough promise. I thought he'd end up a fair bit better than the 125 horse anyway. It seems a low handicap mark to me, but it is based on what he's done, to be fair. But I'd hopefully be a bit better than that.
All right, okay. Bit of promise potentially then from Henri II off that mark at Sandown for the 115. Rattling over to Aintree, again with fingers crossed that it all goes ahead. 2.5 miles just about the distance. It's certainly going to feel like further if it does. Richmond Lake, 11-4 favourite here. Springwell Bay, 3-1. No Risk to Flow, 5-1. Dr. T.J. Ecclesburg is 7-1. Grandad's Cottage, 8. Serendipity, 8. 12-1 Brillstone. Salamanca Bay, 14-1. And there's going to be, there's horses for courses, there's trainers, creatures of habits. There are loads of horses running at both Aintree and Sandown tomorrow, Tom, where you get the feeling Connections went, well, we won this race last year. We know what the conditions are going to be. Let's plan the season around it. We've just seen Operation Manu in the first. We've got Richmond Lake here, Spirit Danu potentially later on at Sandown. But yeah, Richmond Lake, you get the feeling this might well have been a plan again.
Yeah, I'm sure it was. I mean, remember the meeting last year? It was the one where the ground was as bad as you've ever seen it. There were about 2 finishes were there in this race. There were definitely a couple of, in the Beachy case, it was pretty grueling viewing. I think it will be the same if it goes ahead. It looks like the rain's going to come in. It's already very soft up there. That brings Richmond Lake right into it, doesn't it? Because we know from last year that he will go in the conditions. And that's what it's all going to be about. It's simply going to be about that rather than ability, I think. Springwell Bay, obviously a classy hurdler. Just doubt about him going through the ground. I thought the bottom one, the Dr. Ecclesburg, don't know who TJ Ecclesburg was, Ross. I'm sure you're going to tell me, but
let's have a look.
I thought the form of his win last time, I thought was nothing. I thought it was a pretty moderate race, but the horse he beat, General Madrano, absolutely hacked up at Newbury last weekend. Ecclesburg, he beat him, pretty comfortably. The question with him is whether he'll stay the trip, because it's 2.5 miles. But I think he's crying out for it. Every time I watch him, I think he wants further than 2 miles. I think the ground will not be an issue. A bit of an Evan Williams fan in this type of race, horses off the bottom of the weight. So I thought the Ecclesburg might go well.
Okay, he is a fictional eye doctor in the Great Gatsby, not the Grey Gatsby. Very different entirely. So yeah, I don't know if you've obviously not much of a reader, Tom.
Well, I'm a big reader, but not a reader of the Great Gatsby, obviously.
No, fair enough. No, you're a great reader of the form book. Am I right? Okay, Paul Kealy. What do you make of this Handicap Chase?
I wanted to back Richmond Lake. I think he's short enough. You do know he's going to love the conditions, but it sort of ruined him this race last year, didn't it? When he just won in an absolute bog, or when he won at Aintree last year. So I wonder whether we'll remember that if it gets really deep. And he's in a short enough price. And I just thought, I think Grandad's Cottage has probably had his problems, but it may just have been the case that the ground was not going to be slow enough for him. He was going to run at Ascot a couple of weeks ago. He was also going to run he was primed to run in the Sefton, apparently, according to Ollie Murphy in his stable tour. But, he said in his stable tour he'll definitely win handicaps off his mark, and I think he will. He looked very good when he won at Leicester last year. The ground should be perfect, trip perfect. I just thought it'd be an each way bet against the others, but not a massively confident one.
No. The horse that interested me a little bit, which I believe, I'm sure one of our producers has mentioned this horse in the past to me, but Serendipity, who is proper 2.5 miles, soft ground, rattling left-hander track, really good record in these conditions. Mark of 122's asking a bit, I think, but the yard are just, they're on the verge of doing what they always do, the Sue Smith stable, and bursting into life. They had a winner today.
Well, yeah, they can burst into life. I mean, it might not be that much of an arse, right? I mean, he won off 117 by quite a wide margin at Bangor in April, didn't he? This is better company, obviously, but yeah, he's a young horse. You can see it for sure.
It's more, what Tom was saying about the conditions being right. Okay, David Stevens, Richmond Lake, 11-4 favourite here.
Yeah, trappy little race, isn't it? And not going to be made any easier by the testing conditions that they're going to encounter. Springwell Bay, classy hurdler, did win over hurdles on testing ground, so I'm hoping that he will cope with it tomorrow. He's down in trip from last time, so he stays well further than this. And the yard are going great guns. And then the other one to give a mention to is No Risk They Flow. Obviously, he ran into Loda Sud on Loda Sud's 2 runs ago. Obviously, that one goes a bit later in the Henry VIII. So if he can sort of improve from that run, he would have a chance. But Springwell Bay for me to cope with the ground.
Okay, thank you, David. Right, 132 at Aintree, then 2.5 miles. We're going to move on. And wait for those prices to come up from Sandown. Like I said, Rhubarb is already out, and given conditions, my first thought about looking at this race was that I'm not sure any of them really want these conditions, but we'll get to that in a second. Loda Sud is 5-6, Down Memory Lane is 9-4, Touch Me Not 4-1, Soul Icon is 25-1 on Rhubarb, who is going to make his chasing debut here today. It was a big ask, that, wasn't it? But just the forerunners in theory then, with Loda Sud a narrow odds on. He was a very, very good hurdler last year. Certainly one of the best 2-mile handicap hurdlers about, and they've wasted no time in popping him over fences and giving him a test, and he's jumped beautifully and he's won his last 2 in very impressive fashion. And to be fair, I would have said maybe when he was running on good ground on his first 2 Keels that, doesn't this horse want softer ground? So he's probably the one in here who actually might, and it sounds silly, but he might be even better in softer ground.
Well, he could do. It's good to see a horse that goes on anything, isn't it? Like, I was thinking, is this a bit too quick for him at Cheltenham last time, like you? But he's absolutely gagged up, and it's easily his best form. But yeah, last year he was second in a Betfair hurdle and a county hurdle on heavy ground. Like, and connections always thought he wanted bad ground. So, and I don't think it was that bad on the chase track anyway. It just depends on how much rain they get overnight, doesn't it? Along with the wind. But yeah, he's come of age, isn't he?
Absolutely.
Like, he's a good handicap hurdler, but he wasn't a top class hurdler by any stretch of the imagination. He was mid 130s. He's already, I think he's 10, 11, 12 pound higher now over fences after just 2 starts, and deserves to be.
He's only 6 years old as well, so he's
exactly. He's a 6-year-old. You seem to think this is a horse that's been disappointing because he's been backed for loads of handicaps, especially before last season too.
Yeah.
And blown out a little bit, but no, he's just come of age and he jumps really, really well. I like him. I'm not in a mad rush to take him on, but I don't think it's absolutely simple.
No, although admittedly, the one I don't fancy, or Down Memory Lane, I was surprised.
I wouldn't.
At the price.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to split Down Memory Lane and Touch Me Not. I would have thought they'd be, I would have thought they'd be nearer the same price as each other.
Yeah.
I mean, he was good Down Memory Lane when he won.
He was, but
and we also remember
that
he was favourite when Caldwell, for that Grade 1 novice hurdle last year, when Caldwell Potter announced himself as a potential star. So he was the one that the market liked that day. So he's obviously very highly rated.
Fair. I watched it back again earlier just to remind myself, and I kind of I don't know. It was impressive. He's one of those horses we don't know enough about him, I guess. But
exactly. But I mean, both him and Touch Me Not, they did both jump very well.
Yeah.
And it's going to be fascinating. I mean, touch me not beating Farron Glory. I was really impressed with that one. I thought he seemed to really relish it.
Yeah.
He had a best RPR, I think, of 124 over hurdles. And has gone to 149 in 2 runs over fences. Horses do improve really quickly, when they're young, and fences have been the making of him. But the interesting part about this is they all like to get on with it.
Yeah.
Right, you know what I mean? They've all made the run in him. Sole Icon, who's a 33-1 brag, and there's no mug himself, but probably, up against it. I don't want to take on Lodesard. I hope he wins. I hope Britain has a real high-class Arkle contender on its hands, and we'll leave it at that. But I won't be playing, I don't think.
No, fair enough. And it must be said as well, I mean, all the talk is of, Willie Mullins for Cheltenham, obviously, dominating all the races, Tom, but every time I look at a graded beginners or novice chasers, or even any unexposed chaser, even hurdles at the moment, I feel like Gordon Elliott this year's gone, all right, I'm sick of this. I'm gonna ramp it up, and I'm gonna put it up to Willie, because I don't know, he seems to have 2 or 3 really good horses in every race.
Yeah, he does. I mean, I was looking at last season's novice hurdlers, and I think they were rubbish. I really, really think that the Supreme was rubbish. I think the Ballymore was rubbish. And I think that the Albert Bartlett might have been the best of them. I think if you look at the Supreme form, it was really bad. So I think Lodesou might be the star novice chaser of the season myself. And I think saying he was a handicapper might not be a bad thing this season. Because if you look at the form of the County Hurdle, I think it is light years better than the Supreme. You've got Absurd, who was 4th or 5th in the Melbourne Cup. You've got the Ebor winner back in 4th. I thought it was a really, really strong race, the County Hurdle, and I thought Lodesou did really well to run as well as he did. He just got collared late on by a really top flat horse. I think that form is a lot better than the novice hurdle form for me. So I think he's going to win this, and I think he'll win it quite easily. I think he'll get a lead from the 2 Gordon Elliott horse, and I think everything's right for him. I think he jumps brilliantly. I think he's a top Arkle contender myself.
Yeah, fair enough. And to be fair, I mean, it might well have been that the Skeltons like to target racers, and you need, as we've seen in the past, you need a top class graded horse to win a Cheltenham handicap anyway, Tom.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you'd have won the Supreme. Put it like that.
All right, David.
I was just having a look, see what price he is for the Arkle. He is a 7-1 shot currently. Look, he looked brilliant at Cheltenham. He goes through heavy when he was hurdling, so it shouldn't be a problem to him. And obviously the Skelton horses are running brilliantly. Not someone that can back in these conditions at odds on. And if I was forced to have a bet, it would be Touch Me Not. Just he won the Grade 2 at Punchestown, beating a good horse. But it's again a really trappy little race, and we just don't know how good the Elliott pair might be. Well, we don't know how good Dan's horse is yet, but hopefully we'll find out tomorrow.
Yeah, hopefully we will. Any strong opinions in this race? Did he maybe backload us up for the Arkle? Says Tom Leach, 10-1 seems fair. And Jeff Askew says, what was wrong with the Triumph form? And Tanya says, no chance in the Arkle, best place 5th. Very, very specific opinion there, Tanya, but fair enough. We'll see if time proves you right.
There's normally only 5 runners these days, isn't there?
I was going to say, yeah, there's not really that many. Although, to be fair, how many Cheltenham races where the first 4 were all trained in Ireland? And
that's true.
British horse trailed home in 5th, so yeah, maybe. Okay, over to Aintree then again. The 207 here is otherwise known, of course, of the Beecher's Chase. We are over the Grand National fences. Gaborio and King Turgeon are 4-1. Chianti Classico is 9-2. Cruise Control 6-1. Ironbridge 7s. Chambard 12. Celeb Delaine is 12s, as is Arizona Cardinal. And it is bigger the rest then here for this Aintree race. And again, if it does go ahead, we're going to have very heavy ground, or we're going to have very soft ground, 3 mile and a quarter. We might have strong winds as well, and you've also got to keep jumping round those national fences. Admittedly, actually, this race last year, Keels, had a surprising number of finishers given the conditions, but that's probably because you don't want to be going off like an absolute lunatic in this.
Well, no, they'll plod round. I mean, it's hard work, though. I mean, there was only one horse that finished looking fresh.
Fair.
And that was Chambard who won it.
Yeah.
And who I actually think has to be backed again. I know he's £5 higher and he's approaching 13, but he just plodded round, went at his own pace, and and nothing else would get near him. Now, if it does go ahead, the ground is going to be heavy all over because it's already heavy in places, and they've got 10 to 15 mil to come with these storms. If the wind backs down a little bit and we get the race on, I wouldn't want to be laying double figures with 4 places on offer. I just think he's a fair each way bet. He normally jumps well. I know he's got a few mistakes and on his card, but he's not, but he's just, and again, Venetia Williams.
I was just going to say, are they on in form at all?
Yeah. I mean, she could put me on a horse and it'd have half a chance. I mean,
I'd love to see it.
She's going, going so well. Looking at the others, a little bit worried about King Churgeon on the ground. Got beaten a long way twice on bad ground last season. I know he has won on it earlier in his career, but whether he really wants 3 1/4 mile when it's that deep is another matter. Gaborio's out of the handicap, and he is going to stay, but he was out of the handicap. He's got it to do, albeit he jumped well. Chianti Classico could be a class apart, couldn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the one, although, he did get gifted that race at Ascot last time because he was just allowed to plod along at his own pace and quicken away from him. He did still win it easily, though. I think Cruise Control is a very nice horse who's clearly been laid out for this, had a run over hurdles, but the market hasn't missed him. And, at a bigger price, Sam Twiston-Davies interested in booking for Major Dundee, who's a Midlands National winner on soft ground. He wants a proper trip, but if he can stay in touch and it gets really hard, I could see him running well.
Okay. I mean, you've gone through a lot of horses there, and you haven't mentioned the 2 I thought were interesting. So I think this tells us just how good this, or certainly how open this race is. I mean, again, the one I was going to mention is Celeb Delaine, who's 12 years of age, but just
doesn't stay.
And that's the thing I was going to say.
If you go and have a look, he's jumping alongside Chambard at the second last.
Yeah.
And he's beaten 38 lengths.
Yeah, and that's the thing I was slightly worried about. The only thing is, he just Bangor last time out. That was probably the best I've seen him almost.
Yeah, he looked great, didn't he?
And he pulled away again over the last.
He looks absolutely fantastic. I mean, he's obviously gone up a fair bit, isn't he? And he hasn't got the claimer on this time.
Yarder going great guns as well.
Yeah, I mean, he's got an awful lot more to do. I think that was his day.
Yeah.
And I just don't, the extra 2 furlongs, that's it. I mean, he just stopped to a walk.
You're most probably right, yeah. But he's another one I just kind of hope he runs well. And the other one off the same form line is Monte Agueldo, who just keeps running well. He's really unexposed over staying trips. He's finished 3rd, 2nd and 3rd and was right upside Celeb Delaine, a 7-year-old off a lightish weight. So, yeah, really open stuff here in the Beecher, Tom.
Yes, I haven't mentioned my fancy either. Iron Bridge I thought would run really well. Just simply because I think he's been set up for the race. I like John Joe, had a good winner at Sandown today. I think he'll love the ground. I think he'll go really well. I do think Chianti Classico is the one to beat, though, and I'm a little bit surprised he's not favourite. I thought he should clearly be favourite for this. I'm a bit. I don't really, people tell me that you can't win races in heavy ground off top weight. I don't believe that at all. Sometimes think it's easier because they go slower and class comes to the fore. So I think they'll just plod round. If Chianti Classico gets into a rhythm like he did at Ascot or at Cheltenham, I think miles too good for these, in my opinion. But it is 3 miles, 2 furlongs in the mud. So Iron Bridge is a very strong stayer. 2nd in the Welsh National. I know he was beaten miles, but just think he's been set up for the race. I think he'll go well.
Okay. I mean, if Chianti Classico does win this off 1.57, that's some performance, isn't it? I'm not saying it won't happen. I'd love to, again. It'd be fantastic to see.
I think it's all relative, Ross. I mean, that's the way I look at it. It's all relative. It depends. Usain Bolt was carrying 14 stone on his back. He'd beat you and me put together. Do you know what I mean? It's all relative.
Well, I think if he's carrying 14 stone on the back, he's carrying one of me or you. I think that was probably roughly around the same.
You know what I mean? I think it's all relative. I mean, sometimes. Ratings are ratings, aren't they? I know some of you guys love ratings. I'm not a great ratings man, so it doesn't really come into my sort of psyche, that sort of thing, what he's rated, because I think he's just better than them. And I think being better than them, no matter what you're rated, you rate 190 if he wants, but if he's better than the horses he's running against, you'll beat him.
1998. A horse did win off 1.57 in this race, Tom. Earth Summit.
There we go.
Off 1.57. So there you go. To be fair, not many have tried, have they? So, okay. Anything extra for us, David Stevens, or any strong opinions?
We've got the 4 places each way, obviously. All the couple I fancy have been mentioned already. Iron Bridge, for the reasons Tom said, stamina, yard in great form, won't mind the ground. Got to back Chambard. Love, even with these new modified Aintree fences, I love course winners over it. And obviously Venetia is absolutely flying. But I would not begrudge Chianti Classico winning. He's a 20-1 shot for the big race back there in April. And it'll be some performance winning off there. But I think, look at him. He's a festival winner. He looked good at Ascot, and he can definitely go through that ground. So really open race, but looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think if he wins this, obviously he'll be in the Gold Cup first, won't he? Potentially for a crack. Who knows? Okay, let's go over to Sandown for a handicap hurdle over 2 miles. Again, in theory, just shy, but it definitely will be a test. And you kind of get the feeling a couple of these might well come out. Be interested to see if Will Mount runs at all. If the meeting does get the go-ahead, Nicky Henderson does have previous with pulling horses out in terrible ground at Sandown. But he's 11-4 favourite here. Knickerbocker Glory 100-30. Altobelli is 9-2. Nemean Lion is 6-1. 8-1 Spirit Danu and Royal Way. 12-1 Streamer Stars and Zambezi Fix, the 20-1 outsider of the bunch. Right now, Tom, this looks to have a lovely shape to it because I don't particularly fancy the favourite. I wouldn't be surprised if he won. He's slightly priced up on connections and reputation almost. And you've got some proper Sandown horses in here. And again, it's my old frenemy almost, Spirit Danu, who keeps niggling me here. And you were saying you're a big fan of the Moors. Conditions ideal for this horse.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he was punted. I had a few quid on him last time. Then he shortened in the market on his comeback, and even though he didn't get very far, he could run well back under these conditions. I'm like you. I don't fancy Wilmont at all. I think he's a bad favourite. We saw under Kingston Pride today in the graded race at Sandown. He was pulled up. I don't think. Well, if he runs, I don't fancy him. I think Knickerbocker Glory is undoubtedly the one to beat. Goes well fresh. Love heavy ground. Good form at the track. Likes going right-handed. Everything in his favour. Will have been targeted at the race. Just when the favourite came out, 100-30, it could still be a good price. I don't know. I think there's probably about the right price. Altobelli's got a chance of reversing form with him on their Ascot run last year. He's a lot better off. Knickerbocker Glory was ridden by Tristan Durrell that day. He was claiming 5. Obviously not ridden today, and he's better off at the weights. He hasn't. Just whether he seemed to be better the next time Altobelli. I wonder whether conditions first time up will be to his liking. I thought Spirit Danu could go well. If Royal Way down the bottom, 4-year-olds dominated this race last year. If Royal Way acts on the ground, he could go well. I thought Zambezi Fix is not a bad each way bet at 20-1 either, because he'll love the ground, he'll travel really well. But I do think it's probably between Knickerbocker Glory and Altobelli. I think Knickerbocker Glory will probably win myself. I'm just not convinced. We'll back him at 3-1.
Okay, fair enough. You've also got Nemean Lion in here as well. He was third to Timoris at this track in background in Grade 1 Cup. He's a really good horse last year, of course. This is a really interesting race, but
yeah, he won the Kingwell last year, Nemean Lion as well, on heavy ground. Yeah. So he really likes it. His half-brother ran quite well today on only second start over hurdles, finished third.
Was that in the opening juvenile?
Yeah, in the opening juvenile, yeah. He went quite well. He's got to give a fair bit of weight away to some potentially still well handicapped horses, isn't he? I mean, I like Tom. I don't like Will Mount. I had a good bet on Knickerbocker Glory when Cabwell and Matham were still in, because I liked him even less than I like Will Mount, and he was favourite. But I think Paul Nicholls has said before that he doesn't want really deep ground, and so therefore he came out before pretty early today. So. Yeah, Will Mount's one run on bad ground under rules was in the Challow last year, and he was pulled up in the straight, wasn't he? Never going. So he's got a few questions to answer.
I'm trying to work.
The form of his win at Newbury against Benny Nahar Road was nothing special. Benny Nahar Road is still rated 108.
I thought the only thing is there was a couple down Joker de Mai.
Joker de Mai, yeah, but I mean,
like
it's like, you know what I mean. But they've been so far for that date for it not to matter. You know what I mean? And they've improved since. So yeah, I mean, Knickerbocker Glory's record fresh is really good. He's got, if you go and have a look at his record after, more than 50 days off, it's just really good. And he won first time out, beat Altobelli, 4 and a bit lengths last year. He is £8 worse off if you include the jockey's claim from Tristan Durrell last year. But he's going to be out in front and Altobelli can make a mistake. And, he's the better jumper. If you go and have a look at Dan Skelton's stable tour, he says quite clearly there's a 50-grand race at Sandown early in December that's got his name written all over it. And he's got his weather as well, assuming the wind it's not too windy and it gets called off. So, I mean, I can't see him not going very close. And my other one again, like you, was Spirit Danu. I think I backed Spirit Danu when he won this race last year, and he does. It was second time out as well. I think then,
And also that I watched about. I mean, obviously he bombed out at Newbury, but then he finished 5th in that Aintree Handicap Hurdle. He had absolutely no right running that well in. That was an absolute cracker behind Katira.
He's still got some. He's still got some talent and a bit of mileage off his mark. He's not that much higher than last year, is he?
No, not really. Okay, really interesting stuff. Again, we don't know. Well, we don't know whether it's going to go ahead again at all, David. But there might be more absentees. If not, there's a couple for the each way multis, perhaps.
Yeah, I think whether it goes ahead or not, Knickerbocker Glory will replace Will Mount as favourite by the time the race comes around. Not quite sure why Will Mount is favourite now. Gary and Josh Moore have obviously got a pair in it. I like the other one, Royal Way. Forgive him his run in the Greatwood, was never going that day, but he's got winning form on soft. He's around the 8-1 mark. But as I say, Gary and Josh got a couple in this. Obviously, Spirit Dawn, who's our other one. And the Moors to win this race again is a 5-1 shot.
Okay, thank you very much. The Moors to win this again is a 5-1 shot. Okay, fair enough. Will Mount then 11 full favourite, but we're all taking him on here at Sandown. As we go back to Sandown and stick with them for the feature of Saturday, the Tingle Creek. John Bon is currently 8-15 here. Calixios is 5-1. 7-1 Edward Stone. Boot Hill 14s. JPR 114s. Master Chewy 16s. Solness 25s. Unexpected Party is 80-1 outsider of the bunch. And again, an interesting lineup for Tingle Creek, mainly because we've actually got runners, haven't we? We've got 8 runners. We've got, admittedly, horses like Edwardstone and Boot Hill once again turning up to give John Bon a bit of a crack. But the added enjoyment of a very talented Grade 1 winning hurdler in the shape of Calixios, who's taken a while to sort of get his act together over fences, or at least he went missing for a little bit in his career. He's back with a bang, that's for sure. JPR1, of course, who won that good race at Exeter last time out. Master Chewy, we mentioned earlier on. So there are a few new names to throw into the mix. But he's 8 years old. It feels like 8 years old going on 28 years old, John Bon. Keels, and last time out he didn't win by far, but he never looked like
he didn't win.
Beat.
But this is the thing, isn't it? I mean, he's very good. He's a winner. He's got the attitude of a winner, but he's not quite good enough to scare everything off, which is why we've got 8 runners. So I still think he'll win. I think he's in his element around Sandown as well. I mean, you've got to remember he thrashed El Fabiolo there in the spring last year. Like I said, I don't think the ground was that bad today, and unless they get a lot of rain. With the wind, I think it'd be fine for him. And he's very, very much the one to beat, and I think he'll win. I've got to be honest, I can't get my head around Calixios being second favourite. He looked very good, but against a horse reappearing from a break last time, and it's such an outlier on his best form. He's the nearest.
No, it's not. Triumph Hurdle winner.
Mate, rubbish Triumph Hurdle.
And he should have beaten T Hoopu, giving him weight.
Triumph Hurdle winner for 3 years ago, mate. I mean, none of his chase.
He should have beaten T Hoopu, giving him weight a year ago.
None of his chase.
I'm with Keels. He beat Adagio and Zana here.
Yeah, none of his.
T Hoopu didn't want to.
None of his chase form. None of his chase form.
The horses he does beat were rubbish when he raced them, but they're really good now. Don't always say.
Say again, what?
Well, you can't say Tingle was rubbish at the time. He was very good at.
He was very good at.
Hang on, can we all stop shouting at each other? I didn't say that. I absolutely didn't say that. I said that the Triumph Hurdle horses he beat were rubbish, and that Tiapu. I mean, I don't even have an opinion on that. I don't know. I didn't say anything about that.
Okay.
Look,
But in this way, he disappoints more often than not over fences. None of his chase form is anywhere near as good as that last run. I need to see it repeated again. I think he's more of a candidate for last than first. But there you go. That's my opinion. I am entitled to it. I would give Boot Hill a good chance of finishing second again, and I think JPR1 is a bit overpriced.
All right. Okay. I've forgotten which race are we looking at when he beat it? What he should have beat to at Limerick in 2021.
Well, you gave him weight and he jumped the last 4 lengths in front of him, ballooned it and got beat half a length. Yeah.
Right, okay, fair enough. Since then he's been beat.
Christ, I go an awful long way back to make a case for horses sometimes, but blimey.
Yeah,
Well, that far back. He's only 7.
No, that's fair. I mean, he's got 12 lengths to make up on Master Chewy on Aintree, and Master Chewy's 16-1, and he's 5-1.
He's miles better than Master Chewy, and he's miles better than JPR1.
He's a
very good horse.
shocking price. You haven't tipped him, have you?
Very good horse. I love horses. I'll tell you what I like. I like horses that people, that the ratings boys think they can't get their head round the last run. They've made everything in the race run badly because Quilixios won it. And I like looking at it the other way, thinking, well, maybe they didn't all run badly. Who says Marine National's a busted brand? He's always run first time out every year in his life. Why is he suddenly a busted brand because Quilixios beat him? I'm not convinced. I think he's a very good horse and he's a very good jumper. I think he's John Bon is obviously the one to beat, isn't he? Clearly. But he beats Edwardstone, and then 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 he beats Edwardstone. And then
sorry, hang on, Tom. You're skipping there. Just let's just you've got some dust on the needle, mate.
We need to stop again, didn't we?
He keeps being the same horse. Now he might be very good. I don't know. I don't know about John Bon. He's one of those horses I want to take on every time he runs because I just don't know. He looks very good. He's won lots of races, but it's the same horses the whole time.
Yeah, but okay, that is fair. But it's the same horses because he runs in Grade 1s over hurdles and fences repeatedly, and very few horses.
That's because there aren't any good 2-milers.
Well, I know, and Quilixios isn't one of those either.
Well, he might be. You don't know that. You don't know that.
No, but
we don't know whether JPR1, how good JPR1, Quilixios, and Master Chewy are in this against the pre-proven chasers. What I'm saying, as what I said earlier, was that the proven 2-milers got absolutely booted into touch by Founder 50 and Solness at Navan. Galopin de Champs and the boys got beaten by the up-and-comers in the Durkan. There is a chance that John Bon isn't as good as people think he is. That's all I'm saying. So I wanted to take him on with an up-and-comer. Now, I was going to go for JPR1. That was the one all week I wanted to be on, but I'm very worried about the ground for him. And I wonder whether he'll even run if it gets very heavy, because I don't think he likes it. When he got beaten like Le Patron at Sandown last year in the Henry VIII, I don't think he liked the ground. So that worried me about him. Master Chewy, as Keel said, is a 1-mile-6 chaser. So I thought that I thought the obvious one was Quilixios. He's trained by a bloke that's the best 2-mile chase. He's got he's got a brilliant record in 2-mile chases. I think he's very good.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't know what my opinion is now. My brain's absolutely pickled. But it's the price, though, isn't it? I just think you're backing a horse at 5-1 to try and find out if he's as good as he might be. And Master Chewy, he might be a better horse than Master Chewy, but Master Chewy's 3 times his price.
Well, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. But I think we've come to the conclusion that Master Chewy isn't going to stay. That's why it's 3 times the price.
Well, the only thing is, it was 2-mile-1 at Ascot last time, wasn't it? It's 1.7.5 at Sandown, which is, it's a fair old difference. Whether he gets through it in the ground is another matter altogether. But
I would also say the Arkle last year, he was 3 lengths down and keeping on when fell 2 out. Yeah. He would have been miles ahead of Quilixios on that occasion. He would have been on the heels of Founder 50 and Ilete Tom. He was carrying a monster weight at Ascot last time out, and Martyrdor's come out and dotted up again since. He was in the last 100 yards, he was still in the mix, and he just got tired. I don't know. I think Master Chewy will run a good race, but
so do I. I just don't think he can. I don't think he's a win bet. I don't think he can win. I don't think he can stay well enough to get past John Bon.
No, fair enough. Okay,
that's my issue with him.
All right. Okay.
Well, I think JPR1, Boot Hill, Edwardstone, and John Bon will beat Quilixios.
There you go. No better than 5th. is the comment of the night.
That's what it's all about.
It is. I did enjoy that. I did enjoy that.
Yeah.
My opinion at Naas last time out, Tom, was that, like I said, there were a lot of horses behind who either had other targets in mind, were coming off the back of absences, and he
But it's
kind
so
of...
easy to say, Ross, isn't it? We always say stuff like that when horses that aren't supposed to be that good win races.
Well, no, hang on, let me finish. What I was going to say, it's not just... I'm not talking through... I'm not putting opinions. In fact, I'm the way I watched the race was everyone... It looked like they just went, Calixios can have a run, let's see how he goes. The race was run entirely to suit him. That's all. That's my only opinion on that.
Yeah, and that's exactly true. And he won by 7 lengths, giving weight away.
Okay, all right. Going to be on that WhatsApp at 3:05 tomorrow, I tell you. David Stevens, care to wade in?
Well, listen, firstly, I want to congratulate all of you for a race that's got an 8-15 favourite who's 4 from 4 around Sandown and will just win.
And probably might not even take place.
Yeah.
Probably going to be on.
I think this is why, David. We can we can throw strong opinions around when we know they ain't going to be tested.
I think I need to congratulate all of you. That was great fun. Just one thing, Tom, Joe Tizard, obviously writing in his Coral blog, he shares your concerns about the ground. He said, we will go to the course tomorrow, but we'll have a very long, hard look at it and won't be afraid to wait for the Desert Orchid at Kempton at Boxing Day or the day after if need be. But there is a doubt over his participation. They obviously think the world of him. Look, John Bonner will win, won't he? That's what he does around Sandown. And I think Quilixios will probably chase him home in second because I thought his defeat of Marine Nationale last time was decent. I thought everyone concentrated on Marine Nationale getting beat and not Quilixios winning.
Yeah, fair enough.
You realise Dave Stevens going for it, Tom, has put an extra stone on his back, don't he?
yeah. You're not supposed to cheer that, Tom. Remember the tropes of the show.
Hold on a minute. I know that man over there. Now I'm not sure he's told anyone, but he did tip the 33-1 winner.
Not allowed to mention it. I was threatened with disciplinary action at work if I kept mentioning it.
Fair enough. All right.
What's disciplining action at work mean? You're not allowed a free bottle of wine or something?
No comment.
Should we? Yeah, part of me wants to go to the next race. Part of me wants to keep arguing about what's going to happen in the Tingle Creek because I quite enjoy it. But it feels like we're about 5 bites in halfway through that Tingle Creek preview. But anyway, Aintree 317. I can assure you we are all stone cold sober. Chock-a-Block is 5-1. The Nagaridi is 5-1. Uncle Bert is 13-2. He says as he stumbles over his words. 7-1 Santos Blue at Tamar Bridge. 10-1 Get a Lead in the Lord Maid and Country Park. And bigger prices the rest. Then for this 317 over at Aintree. The closer on the card. I mean, it might be dark. It might be incredibly heavy ground. There might be 50 mile an hour winds. So there's 2.5 miles. Might be a bit of a test for a few of these. But Chock-a-Block and the Nagaridi, both slightly different profiles. Chock-a-Block coming off the back of an absence. The Nagaridi just beaten at Tipperary last time at Tom Segal. Do you have a strong opinion on this?
No to Chock-a-Block, just my antithesis for Nicky Henderson horses in heavy ground. I wouldn't back him. The Nagaridi. Now, if you're looking at horses that got to improve, he has. I mean, it was not much of a race at Tipperary last time, and there's some. I don't know. I didn't see him as being very well handicapped, but he's unexposed. So I don't know. I get that's why they backed him. I thought Uncle Bert had a chance switching back to hurdles. He won't mind the ground, but the one I thought I liked most was Bingu, I think it's called. James Moffat's horse, whose best form came over course and distance in bad ground on his debut last year. Now, he goes well fresh, so I don't know where he was going to finish at Carlisle last time, but the form's working out quite well. The winner, Castle Russian, I think, ran very well in the Haydock race, the one by Shoot First. I think that's a decent race at Carlisle. I think he would have probably finished 3rd or 4th, they finished close up, so maybe 4th or 5th. But I think he's going to go well on a track that he likes and on ground that he likes. Or Charlotte Jones is riding him.
Okay, fair enough. So that's bingo! Garden Gate, number 8. For Tom Segal. 2.5 miles there for this Handicap Hurdle. There's quite a few Uncle Bert was in there. There's a horse I think is an absolutely daft price in here, but I'm going to let you...
Feel free to go on because I don't really have a strong opinion. But I remember having a really good bet on Tamar Bridge when he won this race 3 years ago. And it was the longest final furlong I've ever experienced in my life when I had a punt, because he was just getting there. And then when he got there, the other one was coming back at him. He just got through it. He's £3 lower, but he's run 4 times since in those 3 years. PPP was quite a good second to Pretending last time at Utoxeter. If he comes on for that, he's quite interesting. Like Tom, I was a bit of an Uncle Bert person myself. I just think he hasn't taken to fences at all, and he'll be much happier getting going back over hurdles. And the other one interested me was Get a Lead, who just wins a lot.
He does.
So those were the ones that interested me, but I haven't had a bet race.
Yeah, I mean, well, I'm going to have a saver on Tamar Bridge, more for 2 reasons. One, he's trained by Ollie Murphy. And I mean, the same reasons. He's trained by the same trainer. He's comes from the same form line. The one I couldn't understand was Pyramid Place, who's I think about 12-1, David. I mean, look, I know that Kempton race fell apart a little bit last time out, but he won it on the bridle. And even if you take that out, he absolutely dotted up here last year, early on this year, when he beat Masaccio over course and distance, and he was pulling away at the line again. He's won multiple times in soft and heavy ground as well, and he's been winning on good ground. He just keeps winning, going up the handicap. He goes off big prizes every time. He's course and distance form, handles the ground. Yarder in cracking nick. Brian Hughes in the saddle, bolted up last time out. I guess the 12-1 suggests that this is an open race rather than he's got no chance. But yeah, I thought he was a bit of a big price. Yeah,
it is a wide open race, isn't it? I suppose the other thing about it is, I know Brian Hughes clearly is no negative, but Sean Bowen is on Tamar Bridge. Sean gives a very positive write-up for that one in his blog this weekend. I say winner of this race 3 years ago, obviously had all sorts of problems, but looked good last time if he doesn't have the dreaded bounce. And the other one I like, you've also mentioned already, is Uncle Bert, obviously back to hurdling now. But we do have an Ollie Murphy special in this race. We've mentioned his 2, of course, Tamar Bridge and Pyramid Place, and it's 5-1 from 4-1 that Ollie wins this Aintree finale.
All right, lovely stuff. Me and Keels will have a bit of that, please, then. Mr. David Stevens. Okay, that's the closer at Aintree. The closer at Sandown. Yeah, could take 20 minutes to run, maybe. We could be. Next week's show could have started by the time this race is finished. Montgomery's 4-1 joint favourite with Mr. Vango here. Broken Halo 7-1, top of the bill 15-2. Unanswered Prayers is 8-1. Tommy Bow 8-1. Collector's Item 9 Certainly Red is 9-1 here. And Montgomery for Venetia Williams, who won this a couple of years ago, is the 4-1 favourite. He went on a bit of a winning run last year, but there's a lot of old friends. I know that my friend to my left is back Mr. Vango in the past, Certainly Red. I'm sure a few of us.
You were just going to call me old then.
Yeah, this old man that's next to me is back Mr. Vango before. What else have we got in here that's fair? Tommy Bow. Chris Cook was right in the post this week about how much he loves that horse as well. So lots of old favourites in here, Keels.
Yeah, plenty of old favourites. Being old is not a bad thing, is it? I mean, I think quite a few winners of this have been 10 or older. Last year it was run on heavy ground. The oldest horse in the race, Truckers Lodge, won it. 2020 it was run on soft ground. The combined age of the first 3 owners 35. You know what I mean? So it can be done.
2017 Ben Benz won it at age 12 as well.
Yeah. There's plenty of winners. No surprise whatsoever to see Montgomery and Mr. Vango heading the market, to be honest. Mr. Vango still got to prove that Exeter win on bottomless ground last year wasn't a fluke, because his form after that hasn't compared to it. I know he finished third in the National Hunt Race, but he was beaten miles, and then he was tailed off and pulled up in the Scottish National, although it was officially soft ground and it was nowhere near soft, to be honest. So that might not have suited him. He'll go well. I'm sure Montgomery could go well as well, but I do like horses with a bit of experience sometimes for these races. And I thought Broken Halo might have won the race last year. He came down 2 out, was seemingly travelling well. His stamina was a little bit suspect at the time, but he won over 3 mile, 4.5 furlong at Taunton later in the season. He's on exactly the same mark as last year. He's got Harry Cobden this time instead of Lorcan Williams, because obviously I think Cobden might have won on Truckers Lodge. Again, Paul Nicholls mentioned it in his stable tour. I think we're going to start him there because he goes well fresh, so he's going to be fit and raring to go. And I thought one of the 10-year-olds was quite interesting at a big price as well, I thought both of them were interesting, but I just don't think don't have a massive issue. I don't have much confidence in Conqueror Legend getting round. So Dr. Kananga has some pretty good efforts to his name in the past. He's down to about 117, having been 140, and it's been no good basically for the last couple of seasons. But he had 2 seconds last year to horses that won again and are now way higher in the ratings. And even on those forms, he's half interested. Trainers booked Rex Tingle, who's 2 from 8 for the yard, probably be 3 from 8 if he hadn't fallen off one. If he hadn't had a fall or 2 out at Lingfield last week, and he had a head second yesterday, I think, at 10-1 for the yard. So interesting booking. Dingle having his first go on him. He won the race as a £7 claimer a few years ago. So I'd give him a shot.
Yeah. Dr. Kananga, who of course...
I was. James Bond, Live and Let Die.
Was it Live and Let Die?
Yes.
It was Live and Let Die, yeah.
Yes. There we go.
Yeah. Played by the
Yaphet
excellent Yaphet
Kotto.
Kotto. There you go.
There you
Look
go.
at that. Lovely stuff. Okay, over to you, Tom Segal.
You boys. Gee. The ones at the top haven't had a run. I don't like backing horses in 3 mile, 5 furlong races in the heavy ground. Haven't had a run. Simple as. Paul Nichols says in the paper tomorrow, he's got a great chance, Broken Halo, if he doesn't need the run. Mr. Van Gogh, if he doesn't need the run. Montgomery, it's Phoenicia Williams, probably won't need the run, but it's his first time at 3 miles, 5 furlongs. Never run at Sandown before. Do you know what I mean? I like horses that had a run. So the one I liked most was top of the bill for the Twistons. Twistons having a great run in staying handicap chases this season. Beauport won the Berkshire National by about 1 million lengths the other day. Broadway Boy ran a cracker in the Coral Gold Trophy, Gold Cup. Oh, I'll get it right one day. But see what I did there, Mr. Stevens? Last week. So I thought top of the bill, who got thrashed on his debut, but at least he had a run at Carlisle. But that was over 2.5 miles on good ground against faster horses like Marble Sands. This is much more his cup of tea. He'll love the ground. He likes going right-handed. He's had a run. It'll do for me.
Yeah. We disagreed strongly earlier on, but I agree with you. I really liked him last year. He just relished staying trips, bad ground, and I mean, quite frankly, Tom, he had no chance at Carlisle, did he? I mean, there was no way in hell he could win that.
I mean,
race.
he was on my short list of 3, and I thought I want to put the outsider in because I'm going to back 2, and so one of the others had to go, and it was him.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. David Stevens, London National.
I think Quilixios is so good he could probably stay out there and win this after Tingle Creek.
Thank you. Can I give you a stronger? I genuinely thought you were just going to wrap up then. Carry on.
Oh dear, he tips the winner of the Says, now he comes out with something funny.
No.
I like Unanswered Prayers for the Gordon team. Won the Southern National, I think, or the Sussex, one of the nationals at Fontwells. One on heavy ground. Has the benefit of the run. And Freddie Gordon will be taking off 3 or 5, whatever it is. He's taking off now. So Unanswered Prayers.
Okay, Unanswered Prayers.
Sorry, I should also say, though, obviously the lady trainers are well represented in this race. Venetia, Sarah Bradstock and Lydia Richards. And it's 6-4 that one of the ladies wins this race.
Okay, thank you very much. Right, we're going to get the... Well, actually, we're going to get that in a second. But just in case everything else does just get abandoned, is there anything else we should be... keep an eye out for this week? Anything you like a good Irish horse?
Just Live and Let Die on.
Tom? Just Live and Let Die on, yeah, fair enough. Okay.
No, I like it's the Peterborough Chase tomorrow on Sunday.
Sunday, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I don't fancy Protectorat. I thought Jello might beat him.
Yeah, I agree. I thought Jello ran a really good race at Exeter. I agree with you again, Tom. See, it all comes around, doesn't
See,
it?
there we go.
See, sometimes I think you're talking twaddle, but sometimes you bang on the money. Right, okay. We're going to have an ad and then we'll get the naps.
Not sometimes, Ross. It's a lot of the time.
Look, it's a game of opinions, and,
Exactly.
you've had more right than I have historically, I think.
Put your money where your mouth is. That's it, isn't it? You all have our fancies. We don't, I don't fancy half of the ones you talk about. It's fair enough. Let's just move on.
Right.
That's it. That's the game, isn't it?
It is. Right. We're going to play an ad. I'm going to lay Calixios and then we'll get the naps.
We're into the final bend of the Coral Fan Derby, where racing lovers of the UK are in a spectacular contest. And watch this. He's shaking his phone like it's a pocket-sized maraca. They're all getting rewards now. He's shaking it, she's shaking it, they're all shaking it. Play the free Coral Reward Shaker to win guaranteed daily rewards and offers. Coral, we're here for it.
All right, naps of the day then. Again, hoping it all goes ahead. But best bets of the day on Saturday afternoon. Paul Kealy, what are you thinking?
Killix. No. I'm going to go Henri II in the Pertemps Quover. I think he'll come into his own at 3 mile.
Lovely stuff. Tom?
John Bon, obviously. Top of the bill for me.
Top of the bill it is.
The last.
All right. David Stevens?
I'm going to go for Springwell Bay in the 132 at Aintree. And just a reminder, our pipped at the post offer where you'll get paid as a winner if your horse finishes second, beaten by a neck or less, where I hope that happens to all of them apart from Springwell Bay.
Okay, thank you very much. And I'll go for a meeting that's on. It worked last time. Let's go for He's a Gentleman at the 7 o'clock at Wolverhampton, shall we? For Hugo Palmer, David Stevens. So there you go. Right, lovely stuff. Let's hope it all goes ahead. Fingers crossed. Even if it doesn't, well, we had fun, didn't we?